Hi, in this video we are going to see some of the web method coding best practices, what we need to follow while doing a coding in web methods. So mainly I'll start with very important things first. So mainly you have to avoid hard coding in your code. So mainly it will be any flow service or Java service or anywhere, right? So what you need to do is you have to avoid this and you have to take those details from configuration file. Or you can take it from your caching as well. So this is mainly for example, if you are going to use some HTTP service, you are going to call some HTTP service where you are going to hard code some server detail or service relevant information, right? Then you have to avoid that and you have to take that from your configuration. Then only you can configure the different value for different environment. So maybe I'll just quickly go and invoke the HTTP service. WM public pub, it will be there in the client folder, HTTP. So in the HTTP you have a URL method. So URL, it will be changing for every environment, right? So dev environment have dev URL for our integration which you are calling. Similarly, the test environment, staging environment, production environment will have a different detail. So that is one. And method, it will be post or get, and whatever the value you think it will get changed for each environment, it's better to take it from the configuration file instead of hard coding it in a code itself. That is one. Okay, so I have just written that one, hard coding in your code, take the details from. Okay, so this is avoid hard coding in your code. So that is first one. The second one is the mainly it is you have to drop the variables which are not required in the pipeline. So normally when you are calling any input, right, for example, in this particular flow I just called HTTP and I don't need this encoded URL, then I should drop this particular field. Then only when we call the next step, those detail will not be available for the next step, right? So in this way, whenever you drop it, that particular information or variables or the payload which will not be available for the next step, and we can save a lot of memory and our service will perform well. Okay, so that is the next one, which is drop the variable which are not required in the pipeline. The next one is you, if possible, right, you just use clean pipeline service in your flow in order to clean up all the pipeline variable which are not required. So use the clean pipeline flow service if required. So for example, you are not dropping properly in every flow step, then what we can do is you can call the WM public pub flow and clear pipeline. Okay, so the service name is clear pipeline. So you have to use that, and what value you wanted to preserve to the next step, right? Then that information you can give it. For example, I wanted to preserve this body, right? Then that you can preserve it. So this is clear pipeline. So it will clear the pipeline data whichever it's not required. So whatever we are mentioning, that only it will preserve, and the remaining thing will not be preserved. So it will be deleted from your pipeline. The next one is remove the disabled code. For example, if you have any code disabled, for example, this map step is disabled, and don't keep disabled code in your environment. For example, you are going to move this code to your test environment. This disabled code, it's not going to make any sense, right? So you have to delete that code to before migrating from your dev environment to the target environment, right? You have to clean up the code. So you have to delete this disabled code. So that is the fourth one. So the fifth one is avoid multiple copies of same field or variable name in the pipeline. So for example, in web method, right, so it will support the same level of field. For example, I have this header and body, right? as an output of this service. And similarly, I can have the same name available in the pipeline as well. For example, if I copy, the same body is coming, right? So which is also I can map it like this as well. So I can take it from here and I can map it to body, right? So the same data or same field name, we can keep it in our pipeline output. So for example, if you mouse over it, right, so it's referred as a body 0. So if you see the last line of the tooltip, you're able to see body of 0, right? Similarly, this one will be body of 1. So it looks like a same name, but again it's a different variable, but again it will create a lot of confusion when you do a mapping. So maybe you'll map it from the wrong referenced variable, all this stuff. So avoid using the same name in the pipeline for multiple times. Okay, so this is very important. And also avoid using this kind of system field, right? For example, URL is part of this HTTP service. You try to avoid having your field name created with those kind of name. So that is the another one. Avoid multiple copies of same field and variable name in the pipeline. The next one is debug log. Okay, so for example, I want to log some information. So I can do, what I can do is I can invoke and then I can put flow wm public pub flow, and you can have debug log, right? So for example, you wanted to log something, this service is invoked. So for example, I want to log some data, then you can use a debug log and then you can log it. Okay, so this is not so when you log this one in your interface flow, what will happen is it will log the data in your server log, which you can see it from the logs and server log, right? I'm not going to run that service, so normally it will come in your server log. So it used to come in this particular page. So if you are going to call this debug log from many of your flow service, what will happen? Lot of log information related in the same server log file, right? So this is a server log file which is for product, where we can see what is happening for our entire environment, right? So we should not write our logs into our interface specific logs into our server.log file. So you have to avoid that. So you should not use debug log in your flow. So even if you use it in your development environment for some debugging purpose, before moving to the target environment, you should delete it. So avoid using debug log, right? So avoid using debug log in a higher environment. So before moving to the higher environment, you have to delete it. The next one is, so whenever you wanted to use always try to use out of box built-in service. Okay, so for example, you are trying something from the WM public package or other utility package, always try to use that, because if you are trying to write every time whenever there is a requirement for a Java service, then what will happen when you are migrating your environment to the upper version, it's not part of your out of box web method built-in service code, right? So what will happen sometime if you are using a Java and then when you migrate it might get deprecated, where you might have to spend time to alter the code, all those stuff. So better avoid writing Java services. Try to use always out of box built-in services available, because from the methods most of the services are covered for your mapping. So try to use everything from your out of box built-in services. And moving on to the next coding best practices. Always you just specify input output for your service. So for example, if you have a service which is going to retrieve two input, which is number 1 and number 2, and value is output, then you always define that input. Okay, so for example, any flow services, you always define a input and output. Then only when you call this service, this input will be visible, where we can easily map and we can see what is the output of the service. Okay, so specify input output for your service always. Moving on to the next one. So we completed 8 coding best practices. Set timeout values wherever it's required. So for example, we just called some HTTP service, right? this is going to call some HTTP REST services or external services using HTTP or HTTPS. So when we call this service, we are internally we are invoking some API within our organization, or we are calling some external URL, right? So sometimes that service will be down. So you have to set proper read timeout value in the timeout field and connect timeout field. For example, I'm not able to connect within 30 seconds, then I should come out and then I should proceed with further step, right? So always you have to have the timeout value. And also similarly, this timeout value, it's meant for read timeout. For example, I have called some web service that has received the request because the service is running, but the service is taking long time to respond. For example, if it is taking 5 minutes to respond, then what will happen? So our thread will get open and then it will be available and it will be occupied, right? So we don't need to wait for those many seconds or minute for real-time web service. So you have to have a proper read timeout value and proper connect timeout value always for your services. It's not only for HTTP. Even if you have a SFTP configuration configured in your integration server, you have to set the proper timeout values. So we have to set the timeout values wherever it's required. And the main thing is do proper commands in your flow steps or services. So flow step is here, the first flow step is map, and then this is another HTTP flow step. Each step you have to comment it. So for example, in this HTTP flow, there's a command. I'm just calling my third party system. Okay, so you can put that third party, whoever it is, right? So you can put that system third party logistics provider. You put the actual the provider name. Okay, then it will be more meaningful. So we have a command. So this is the step level command, right? Similarly, you have a service level command here. There you just document all the information. What is the version of the service and who has done the development and when we have done the development, and at high level what this is the service, right? This is a test service. And if you wanted to write more detail about the test service, then you can mention like this service used to capture all the coding guidelines or best practices. So like that, whatever you wanted to specify about that service, you can comment it, so that in future if somebody is referring your code, then they can see from the command and what we are doing it exactly from that particular service. So the commands, it's very important. So we have to do the proper command at the step level, the flow step level, and also at the service level. So now the next one is, so we have to handle the error. Okay, so you have to handle the error wherever, right? So for example, I'm just calling the HTTP here. So after that, maybe the HTTP response, right? In the header, they will give a status message, right? So you have to handle all the status. If it is a 404, what I need to do. So if it is a 500 error, what I need to do. Do I need to reconnect it, right? Or do I need to retry? So those kind of things you have to handle it. And also there are any exception, you have to throw it. Then only your error handling framework or the catch block can catch the exception and act upon to send an email or log the exception detail in your logging framework or error handling framework. You can do that from there. So you have to handle the error. So that is wherever you have to throw an error, right? So you have to do that. And then don't do any code change directly in higher environment, right? So for example, don't do any coding in the test environment or production environment. So if you are going to do any small code change also, you have to do it in development and you have to test it, and then you have to move it in a higher environment. So for example, if it's very urgent, you are directly making in a test environment, then we will lose the code history from the development environment, or sometimes we'll forget to move the code to development environment. So always do the code change in development environment and move it to higher environment. So these are the few coding practices I have explained. So there are a lot of coding practices available in web method. So try to follow that. And if you are a beginner, you start following every time, right? You start following the proper coding practices, so that it will be very useful, and also your code will have a better performance as well. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for watching this video so far. If you like the video, please share it with your friends and also subscribe to this Tech Lightning channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.